The alien child ran as fast as her little legs could carry her, her glowing green eyes wide with fear. Her small hands trembled as she clutched a torn piece of cloth that smelled faintly of her mother. Behind her, the sound of heavy boots and metallic clanging echoed across the barren wasteland. She dared not look back, but every step made her heart pound faster. They took her. They took my mother, she whispered to herself, tears streaming down her pale cheeks. Her voice, though small and broken, carried desperation, hope, and fear all at once. She had heard stories of humans before, brave creatures who never left anyone behind, and somewhere deep inside she believed one human could save her. Through the dust-filled air, a human ship landed nearby, its engines glowing a bright blue. She waved her tiny arms frantically, hoping against hope that someone would see her. The human pilot leaned over the edge of the ship, surprised to see a small alien child standing alone in the wasteland. Her plea was raw, desperate, and impossible to ignore. "Please, human, help us." "They locked my mother in a cage," she cried, her voice shaking with fear. The pilot hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Grabbing his gear and rushing toward her, the child led him through narrow canyons, pointing to strange markings on the rocks. They came from there. The guards. "My mother," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the wind. The human followed carefully, noting the sharp edges of the rocks and the shadows that seemed to move with a life of their own. Every rustle of sand or distant echo made the child freeze. But the human whispered, "Stay close, don't be afraid." "I will help her," the child nodded, courage mixed with terror in her wide eyes. They moved silently, avoiding the patrol drones that scanned the landscape with red beams of light. The first drone passed dangerously close, its sensors nearly catching them. The child held her breath. Wishing she could disappear into the rocks, the human ducked and motioned her along, guiding her through a narrow tunnel between two cliffs. The sound of her mother's cries reached them faintly. Carried by the wind, her voice called to the child, desperate and pleading. "Mommy, mommy," she whispered, tears blurring her vision. The human recognized the urgency, his heart tightening at the child's pain. He knew the enemy was strong, ruthless, and well-armed, but giving up was never an option. As they reached the edge of the compound, the sight of the cages made the child gasp. Her mother was chained inside a hovering cage, her glowing skin bruised and battered. The child ran toward her, but the human grabbed her shoulder gently, holding her back. "We need a plan," he whispered, scanning the guards that patrolled the area. "They are strong. We cannot rush in without a strategy." The child nodded reluctantly, wiping her tears, knowing he was right. They crouched behind a pile of rocks, watching, waiting for the right moment. The mother struggled against the energy locks, calling out in her alien tongue, her voice filled with fear, hope, and pain. Echoing through the night, the human whispered to the child, "When I say now, you run to her, do you understand?" The child swallowed hard, nodding, her tiny heart pounding with anticipation. The guards moved in a rhythm, predictable but dangerous. Every second felt like an hour as they counted the beats in silence. The tension in the air was unbearable. The slightest noise could alert the enemy. Finally, the human gave a small nod. "Now." The child sprinted. Dodging the guard's line of sight, her mother reached out, tears in her eyes, whispering, "My baby, you came." The human followed, covering her, his pulse rifle ready. Lasers hummed dangerously close, sparks flying as they ricocheted off the walls. The child reached her mother, unchaining her with trembling hands. The mother hugged her tightly, tears falling freely. But the danger was far from over. The alarm had not yet sounded, and more guards were approaching. The human whispered, "Stay together, we move now." With the child and mother safe for the moment, they began moving toward the exit. Every shadow seemed alive, every sound a warning of the danger ahead. The desert wind blew, carrying dust and fear alike. The human and the alien child exchanged a glance. Determination and courage reflected in their eyes. They knew the path ahead would be perilous, full of danger and uncertainty, but the hope of freedom, the need to save a life, drove them forward. The night stretched endlessly, the stars above witnessing their desperate flight, and as they vanished into the darkness, the suspense built, leaving the audience on edge, desperate to see what would happen next. The human, the alien child, and her mother crouched behind a jagged rock, staring at the massive compound. The cages hovered high above the ground, Suspended on glowing energy pillars that hummed with dangerous power, armored guards patrolled every corner, their plasma rifles glinting under the pale light of the moons. The child whispered urgently, pointing to a small tunnel partially hidden by debris. "That way. It is small, but we can hide," she said, her voice shaky yet determined. The human nodded, scanning the perimeter carefully, noting the guards' rotations and the drones hovering above. Every shadow could be a threat. Every movement could trigger an alarm. He crouched lower, motioning for the mother and child to follow him slowly. They inched forward, the child's hands trembling as she gripped her mother's arm. The human whispered instructions. "Step lightly, stay behind me. And do not make a sound," the wind blew, carrying the metallic scent of the compound and the faint hum of energy locks. The first obstacle appeared, a tripwire glinting under the dim light. Almost invisible. The human bent low, carefully cutting it with a small device. The child held her breath, heart racing, as the wire fell silently to the ground. The tunnel was narrow and damp, walls slick with condensation. Forcing them to move in single file, every step echoed slightly, and the human motioned them to freeze when distant guards passed by. The mother whispered softly, "Thank you for helping us." The child looked back at him, tears in her eyes. "Please, do not let them catch us," the human smiled faintly. "I won't," he said, though inside he felt the weight of danger pressing on him. The tunnel opened into a dimly lit storage area, filled with crates, chains, and strange machinery. Prisoners from different planets were kept here, some unconscious, some begging for mercy. The child's mother's cage was not far, hovering above the ground with energy locks glowing bright. The human examined the locks carefully, realizing they were unlike anything he had seen. Standard tools would not work. He needed knowledge, skill, and timing. The child whispered instructions, recalling what she had observed while her mother was imprisoned. Together they worked cautiously, testing the locks one by one, avoiding detection. The first lock clicked open, but the others were more complex, pulsing with strange alien energy. The human took a deep breath. Adjusting the device he had taken from his ship, he aligned it carefully, focusing on the energy patterns. The child watched anxiously, wishing silently that it would work. Finally, the last lock released with a soft hum, and the mother's cage floated silently to the ground. Her eyes filled with hope and disbelief as she touched her daughter's face. The child hugged her tightly, whispering, "I told you. We will be together." The human smiled, hiding his own relief. Knowing the danger was not yet over, suddenly, a guard appeared at the edge of the room, plasma rifle raised. The human grabbed a smoke grenade, pulling the pin and throwing it strategically. Thick smoke filled the storage area, obscuring their movements. The child guided her mother silently through the crates, avoiding sharp edges and broken machinery. The guards coughed and shouted, searching for them blindly. Outside, lasers cut through the night sky, but the tunnel they had come through offered a narrow escape. The human led them carefully, stepping over debris and broken wires. Every step was tense, every shadow a possible threat. The mother whispered, "I never thought we would make it." The child squeezed her hand. "We will. We must." The human motioned for them to move faster, realizing reinforcements could arrive any moment. The compound's alarm had not yet been triggered, but the guards were closing in. They reached a narrow ledge overlooking a canyon, the perfect place to hide temporarily. The child looked down at the jagged rocks below, heart racing. The human whispered, "We have to jump carefully, one by one." They leaped to the next platform, landing with controlled precision. Below them, a patrol drone hovered, scanning the area with a red beam. The human threw a small reflector, confusing the drone, buying them precious seconds. The mother's grip on her daughter tightened, her heart pounding in rhythm with the human's. They ran along the ledge, dodging debris and avoiding sharp drops. The child looked up at the night sky, stars twinkling, wishing she could fly away from all this danger, but the human kept them moving, calm yet alert, every muscle ready for action. Finally, they reached a narrow canyon path, partially hidden from the compound. The sound of pursuit faded slightly, but the threat remained. The human whispered, "We are not safe yet, but we are closer to freedom." The mother and child nodded, relief mixed with exhaustion and fear. The suspense of the night lingered, the darkness hiding danger still unseen. The alien child held her mother's hand tightly, feeling hope for the first time in days. The human watched the compound disappear behind them, planning the next steps. The audience felt the tension, heartbeats racing, desperate to see what would happen next. The human, the alien child, and her mother raced across the barren wasteland, their footsteps kicking up clouds of dust that glowed under the twin moons. The wind howled through the jagged rocks, carrying the distant sound of engines and the metallic clanging of armored boots. Behind them, the slavers pursued relentlessly, their glowing plasma rifles cutting streaks of red light across the darkness. The alien child clutched her mother's hand tightly, her small body trembling with fear. "I can't run much longer," she whispered, her voice breaking. The human glanced at her, his eyes sharp, scanning the terrain for a safe path. "Stay close, we have to keep moving. We will find a place to hide soon," he reassured her. The mother stumbled, exhaustion weighing her down, but the human supported her, guiding her forward. The wasteland stretched endlessly, filled with jagged rocks, deep crevices and shifting sands. The slavers were fast, their advanced suits allowing them to move across the terrain with terrifying speed. The human glanced behind, calculating the distance, noting the drones hovering in the sky. Scanning for heat signatures, he whispered a plan. "We split up for a moment, create confusion, then meet at the canyon." The child's eyes widened. "But what if we don't make it?" "You will," he said firmly, his voice calm but urgent. "Trust me." The human led the mother along a narrow ridge while the child darted to a small rock formation. Creating a brief distraction, the slavers paused, scanning for the source of movement, their plasma rifles tracking shadows. The human and the mother slipped down into a hidden crevice, barely avoiding the scanning beams. The child ran as fast as she could, weaving through rocks and sand, her heart pounding with each step. The human fired a pulse shot into the air, signaling her to move toward the canyon ahead. The slavers realized the trick too late, shouting orders and splitting their pursuit. The human and the mother reached a ledge overlooking a deep canyon, the drop below jagged and dangerous. They paused for a breath, knowing the next jump would be critical. The child appeared, panting and covered in dust but smiling, relieved to see them. "Quick, we jump together," the human instructed. Guiding them to the edge one by one, they leaped, landing with a controlled thud on the lower rocks, rolling to absorb the impact. The slavers were relentless, firing across the canyon, sparks flying dangerously close. The human grabbed a fallen drone and hurled it toward the enemy, the explosion buying them precious seconds. The mother hugged her daughter tightly, whispering prayers in her alien language. The child's eyes glimmered with hope, mixed with fear as she realized they might escape. The human led them through a narrow path between two massive cliffs, each step requiring balance and focus. Above them, patrol drones hummed, their red scanning beams cutting through the darkness. The human threw reflective discs, confusing the drones, giving them moments to slip past undetected. The slavers' leader appeared suddenly, towering in his advanced suit, his eyes glowing with rage. The child froze for a moment, but the human grabbed her hand, pulling her forward. "Keep moving, do not look back," he commanded. The mother stumbled on loose rocks and the human caught her, guiding her with care and strength. The pursuit intensified, the slavers firing relentlessly, their plasma bolts scorching the rocks around them. The wind carried the sound of explosions and screams across the wasteland. The human calculated their route carefully, leading them to a hidden cave partially covered by a rockfall. The child darted inside first, followed by her mother, the human covering the rear. They collapsed inside, breathing heavily, dust and sweat covering their faces. Outside, the slavers searched. But the cave's entrance was small and hidden, shielding them from view. The human examined the path ahead, noting the dangers still lying in wait. The child clutched her mother, whispering, "Are we safe now?" The human shook his head slightly. "Not yet, but we have a moment to plan our next move." The mother's eyes reflected gratitude, hope and fear all mingled together. The child peeked outside the cave, watching the red lights of the drones fade slowly into the distance. The human whispered a plan. "We will rest briefly, then move at nightfall, using the shadows to cover our path." The tension inside the cave was thick, each sound outside making them flinch. The human checked his weapons, ensuring they were ready for the next encounter. The alien child hugged her mother tightly, whispering, "We will survive, right?" The human smiled faintly. "Yes, we will survive, and we will free your people." Outside, the twin moons shone cold and bright, illuminating the wasteland with silver light. The chase had paused for now, but the danger was far from over. The audience felt the tension, their hearts racing with the fear and hope of the trio. Every moment in the cave was a test of patience, courage, and trust, and as they huddled together, the human whispered softly, "We move when the time is right, but we must be ready for anything." The suspense lingered, keeping the audience on edge, desperate to see how they would escape the relentless slavers. The human, the alien child, and her mother moved cautiously through the narrow canyon, their footsteps muffled by loose sand and jagged rocks. The twin moons above cast faint silver light, revealing shadows that twisted and shifted, making every rock seem alive. The child clutched her mother's hand tightly, eyes wide with fear, her small body trembling. "We can't keep running forever," the mother whispered, her voice soft but heavy with worry. The human nodded, scanning the cliffs around them. Knowing the slavers were still pursuing, suddenly, a figure emerged from behind a large rock formation, moving with surprising speed and grace. The human raised his pulse rifle, ready to fire, but the figure raised its hands. Signaling peace, the alien child gasped, her eyes reflecting a mix of fear and curiosity. The figure stepped closer, revealing pale blue skin, long silver hair, and eyes that glowed faintly in the dark. "I am here to help," the stranger said, voice calm and soothing. "I know the enemy, and I know how to stop them." The human lowered his weapon slightly, studying the alien closely. "How do we know we can trust you?" The stranger smiled faintly. "Because I have seen the cruelty of the slavers, and I have lost my family to them. I want to help the innocent." The child whispered to her mother. Maybe this is a chance," the human finally nodded, sensing the honesty in the alien's voice. "Very well, we need allies." The stranger led them through hidden paths inside the canyon, paths unknown to most outsiders. As they walked, the stranger spoke, revealing knowledge of the slavers' technology and patrol routes. "The energy cages your mother was held in," the alien explained. "They have a weak point in the locking matrix, a small panel hidden on the side. It can be disabled if you know how." The child's eyes widened, hope sparking. "We can save them." "Yes, but we must act carefully," the stranger warned. "One wrong move and they will know we are here." The human nodded. Taking mental notes, planning every step with precision, they moved deeper into the canyon, the shadows growing longer and the wind colder. The child whispered, "Do you really think we can fight them?" The human smiled faintly. "We don't fight yet, we plan, we wait. And then we strike when the time is right." The alien led them to a small hidden settlement tucked away inside the canyon. Crystals glowed softly on the walls, casting shimmering light over alien huts made of metal and stone. The inhabitants watched them cautiously, whispering among themselves in a language the child barely understood. The leader of the settlement, an elder with long white hair and glowing eyes, approached. "Who are these humans?" he asked, his voice firm but not unkind. The stranger explained their story, the plea for help and the cruelty of the slavers. The elder studied them for a long moment, then nodded. "You have courage and your cause is just. We will help you." The human felt a surge of relief, knowing they had found allies who were brave and capable. The alien child's mother hugged her daughter tightly, whispering, "I never imagined we would find help like this." The settlement provided weapons, tools, and crucial information about the slavers' weaknesses. The stranger explained the strategy. "We will infiltrate their base when they least expect it, disable the energy locks, and free all the prisoners, including your mother." The human studied the map carefully, memorizing every detail. "We need stealth, speed, and precision. Every second counts." The child listened intently, learning quickly from the stranger, understanding that courage was more than strength. It was intelligence, patience, and trust. As night fell, the settlement glowed softly with lanterns and alien energy crystals. The trio trained in secret, learning to move silently, dodge patrols, and use alien tools to their advantage. The suspense built with every passing hour, each moment bringing them closer to the daring plan. The human taught the child and her mother simple tactics, while the stranger shared knowledge of the alien technology. They discovered hidden panels, weak points in the cages, and secret passages inside the slavers' compound. The child felt hope growing, her fear mingling with excitement. The mother whispered prayers of gratitude, feeling the strength of allies around them. The human reminded them, "The enemy is clever, but we are smarter. We use strategy, not just force. The elder nodded approvingly. You have courage and wisdom. This combination can defeat the slavers. The night passed with preparation, training, and careful planning. By dawn, the human, the alien child, her mother, and their new ally were ready. They knew the rescue would be dangerous, the slavers merciless, but the chance to save lives outweighed fear. The child held her mother's hand, determination in her eyes. We will do it. We will save them, the human smiled, feeling pride and anticipation. Yes, we will, and no one will be left behind. As the first light of dawn touched the canyon, the suspense was at its peak. The audience felt the tension, knowing the daring mission was about to begin. Every heartbeat, every whisper, every shadow carried the weight of the coming rescue. And as the human and the aliens prepared for the dangerous journey ahead, the story left the audience desperate to see the next step. The human, the alien child, her mother, and their new ally moved silently through the canyon, every footstep calculated. The morning light barely touched the jagged rocks, shadows hiding their movements as they approached the slavers' main base. The compound loomed ahead, a fortress of metal and energy, guards patrolling in synchronized patterns, drones hovering above. The child's eyes widened, taking in the enormous structure, but her resolve remained. We can do this, she whispered to her mother, who nodded, gripping her daughter's hand tightly. The human studied the patrols, memorizing rotations, scanning laser grids, and noting weak points in the walls. We go in quietly, disable the energy locks, and get your mother out, he said, his voice low and firm. The alien ally led the way, using knowledge of hidden tunnels and weak points to guide them inside. Every corner held danger, every shadow a possible enemy. The first obstacle appeared, a laser grid guarding a hallway. Pulsing red with deadly precision, the human signaled the group to stop. Examining the pattern, wait for the right moment. Now, he whispered, timing their steps with care. They moved in perfect coordination, jumping, crawling, and ducking, until the laser grid was behind them. The child followed closely, heart pounding, each step echoing in the silent hallway. The mother whispered prayers, hoping their luck would hold. They reached the holding area, where prisoners from different worlds were kept. Chains rattled as guards moved past, their heavy boots thudding on metal floors. The human motioned to the child, pointing toward her mother's cage hovering in the center. The alien ally knelt, working quickly on the energy lock, fingers moving with skill and precision. Sparks flew as the mechanism clicked and hummed. The child's mother looked up, eyes wide with disbelief. You came, she whispered, tears flowing freely. The child ran to her mother, embracing her tightly, whispering, I told you. We would save you. The human kept watch, pulse rifle ready, scanning for any sign of detection. Suddenly, a guard turned the corner, his plasma rifle aimed. The human acted quickly, throwing a smoke grenade, filling the room with thick, obscuring fog. Shouts and alarms echoed. But the group moved swiftly, guiding the mother out of the cage. The child held her mother's hand, running through narrow corridors and past startled prisoners. The alien ally disabled doors and security panels, creating a safe path. They reached a large atrium, but more guards blocked the exit, plasma rifles glowing. The human took cover behind a pile of crates, analyzing their positions. We create a distraction, then move fast, he whispered. He tossed a small reflective device, sending light flashes across the atrium. Confusing the guards, the child's mother pushed forward. Adrenaline fueling her steps, the human and the alien ally covered them, firing precise shots at automated defenses. The group sprinted across the atrium, dodging lasers and debris, sparks flying dangerously close. The child stumbled on a loose piece of metal, but the human grabbed her. Pulling her forward, the exit was in sight, a narrow corridor leading to the canyon outside. The sound of pursuit grew louder, alarms blaring, guards shouting. The human pushed the mother forward, shielding the child, every second crucial. They passed a patrol drone, the alien ally using a makeshift EMP device to disable it temporarily. The corridor narrowed, forcing them into single file. But they moved swiftly. Finally, the canyon opened before them, daylight spilling in, revealing jagged rocks and a path to freedom. The human led the way, jumping over cracks and sliding under low beams. The child ran beside her mother, determination and hope reflected in her eyes. Behind them, the slavers fired desperately, but the group had gained distance. The alien ally covered the rear, using skills and knowledge to slow the pursuers. Dust and debris flew through the air as lasers cut close to their path. The human glanced back, seeing the slavers' frustration, knowing they had succeeded in outsmarting them. The child's mother whispered, "I never imagined we could escape like this." The child hugged her tightly, tears streaming down her face. The human smiled, keeping focus. "We are not safe yet. Keep moving." They ran toward the hidden canyon path, the natural terrain offering cover from drones and guards. The suspense was intense, each step a test of courage, skill, and endurance. The human signaled a final jump over a deep crevice. Landing safely on the other side, the child and mother followed, relief washing over them as the sound of pursuit faded. The alien ally nodded. "We bought time, but the mission is not over. We must find safe ground." The trio stopped briefly, breathing heavily, dust and sweat covering their faces. The human surveyed the canyon ahead. Planning the next move toward freedom, the child whispered, "We did it. We freed her." The mother hugged her daughter tightly, tears of joy flowing freely. The human nodded, pride and relief in his eyes. "Yes, but the danger is not gone. We move carefully from here." The audience felt the tension, heartbeats racing, desperate to see the next step in their journey. The daring rescue had succeeded, but the wasteland still held threats, and the slavers would not give up easily. Every shadow, every whisper of wind, carried the suspense into the next chapter of their adventure. The canyon echoed with the distant shouts and laser fire of the retreating slavers. But the human, the alien child, her mother, and their ally knew the danger was far from over. Ahead, the slavers' leader appeared, a towering figure clad in advanced armor. Eyes glowing with cold fury, he raised his arm, signaling reinforcements, drones swarming through the air like predatory birds. The human crouched behind a jagged rock, pulse rifle ready, scanning for weak points in the enemy formation. The alien child held her mother tightly, her small hands trembling. "Stay close. Don't panic," whispered the human, his voice steady. The mother nodded, whispering prayers in her alien tongue. The first wave of drones swooped down, laser beams slicing through rocks and sand. The human fired with precision, disabling 2 drones before they could strike. The alien ally hurled small energy grenades, creating flashes and smoke to confuse the attackers. The child, despite fear, picked up a fallen blaster, aiming at a small drone, firing carefully under the human's guidance. The leader advanced, armored feet crushing rocks, his glowing eyes fixed on them. The human signaled, "We split. Flank him from both sides." The mother moved behind cover, using her alien agility to create distance. The child followed, keeping low and focused. The human charged forward, firing pulses that ricocheted off the leader's armor, sparks flying. The leader swung a heavy energy blade, slicing through the air, narrowly missing the human. The child ducked, heart pounding, watching in awe and fear. The human threw a small reflective device, blinding the leader momentarily. The ally struck from behind, targeting the energy core of the armor, sparks flying as the armor sizzled and groaned. The child found courage, running closer, distracting the drones. The leader roared in frustration, swinging his blade wildly, creating destruction in every swing. The human seized the moment, firing a precision shot at a vulnerable joint in the armor. The leader stumbled, giving the ally a chance to disable his energy shield temporarily. The mother shouted, calling out to the child, "Now aim carefully." The child fired her blaster, hitting a critical panel on the leader's armor. Sparks flying violently, the leader fell to one knee, armor cracking and sputtering, rage and pain in his eyes. The human ran forward, seizing the moment, striking with a makeshift weapon, disarming the enemy finally. The drones, sensing their leader's defeat, faltered, some crashing into rocks, others retreating into the sky. The mother embraced her daughter tightly, relief and joy washing over her. The child's eyes sparkled with triumph, a mix of fear and exhilaration. The human scanned the horizon, noticing the remaining slavers were retreating. Their morale broken, he signaled. "We are not safe yet. Keep moving to the canyon edge. Cover each other." The ally provided covering fire, picking off any straggling enemies with precision and skill. The mother supported the child, keeping her low and out of danger. The human glanced back at the defeated leader. Sparks and smoke rising from his armor, he whispered, "It's over for now, but stay vigilant." The child ran forward, holding her mother's hand, eyes wide with wonder and relief. The human led the group along the canyon path, every step measured, ensuring no surprises. They reached a natural cliffside, the perfect vantage point to see if any enemies remained. The canyon below stretched wide, empty for now, the echoes of battle fading slowly. The human checked his weapons, ready in case of a sudden attack. The child hugged her mother tightly, whispering, "We did it. We survived." The mother nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Thanks to you. And him. And everyone." The human allowed himself a small smile. Feeling pride and exhaustion, the alien ally looked at the defeated leader, then at the group. The enemy is beaten, but the journey is not finished. Their reach is far. The human nodded. "Yes, but today we won. And no one we care about was left behind." The child looked out over the canyon, feeling hope and courage blossoming inside her. The mother whispered softly, "We can rebuild. We can live freely again." The human placed a hand on her shoulder. "And we will together." The sun began to rise, painting the canyon in shades of gold and silver. The shadows of the defeated slavers faded, leaving only silence broken by the gentle wind. The child whispered, "I never thought I could be brave like this." The human smiled. "Bravery is not about being fearless, it's about acting even when you are scared." The mother hugged both the child and the human, tears of relief and gratitude flowing freely. The canyon was quiet now, the battle over. But the memory of danger lingered, a reminder of courage, unity, and trust. The human glanced at the child, then at her mother, knowing that they had survived the impossible together. The suspense melted into a sense of accomplishment, the audience feeling the triumph and relief of a mission hard won. And as the trio looked out at the endless canyon ahead, ready to start a new chapter, the story left the audience breathless, eager for the final part of their journey. The sun rose over the canyon, painting the jagged rocks in shades of gold and silver. The human, the alien child, and her mother stood together, their bodies tired but their spirits soaring. The slavers had retreated, their armor shattered, their drones disabled. The wind carried a quiet peace, the kind that comes after a storm. The child looked up at her mother, eyes bright with hope. "Are we really free now?" Her mother hugged her tightly, tears of relief streaming down her face. "Yes, my little one, we are free at last," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. The human smiled, looking at the horizon. "We survived because we trusted each other and never gave up." The alien ally nodded, scanning the surroundings. "The slavers may regroup, but they will think twice before returning here." The child took a deep breath, feeling the warm sunlight on her skin, the first time she had felt safe in days. The mother adjusted the tattered cloak around her shoulders, smiling at the human. "You risked everything for us." "Thank you." The human shook his head. "I only did what was right. Nobody deserves to be locked in a cage. Especially not your family." They began walking toward the edge of the canyon, the path winding through rocks and sand. Bird-like creatures flew overhead, their wings catching the sunlight, a symbol of freedom and hope. The child skipped ahead, laughing quietly, a sound she had not made in days. The mother followed, holding her hand, feeling lighter with every step. The human carried supplies they had found, ready to help them rebuild and survive in the wilderness. The alien ally pointed toward a distant valley, hidden from prying eyes. "There is a safe place there, fertile land, fresh water, and shelter." The child's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Can we go there? Will it be our new home?" "Yes," said her mother. "A place where we can live safely, away from danger." The human smiled faintly, feeling satisfaction that the mission had succeeded. As they descended into the valley, the landscape opened up, green plants swaying gently, water reflecting the sunlight. The child ran ahead, her laughter echoing through the valley, a sound of pure joy. Her mother followed, marveling at the beauty, feeling hope bloom in her heart. The human stayed back, scanning the horizon for any sign of danger. But all was quiet, peaceful. The alien ally carried what little they had brought. Making sure nothing was lost, the child stopped at a stream, dipping her hands into the cool water. Giggling as she splashed, her mother knelt beside her, smiling. "You are safe now, and we can start over." The human watched them, feeling pride and relief. Knowing that the bond between mother and child had grown stronger through hardship, the valley was alive with possibilities. A fresh start for those who had suffered so much. The alien ally looked at the human, nodding in approval. "Your bravery and wisdom changed the outcome. We could not have done it without you. The human shrugged. We all did this together. Courage comes in many forms. As the day passed, they began setting up shelter, collecting water and exploring the valley. The child found small creatures in the underbrush. Marveling at their colors and movements, her mother laughed. Feeling joy she thought she had lost forever, the human helped build a small safe area, ensuring they had protection in case enemies returned. The alien ally taught them how to use local plants for food and medicine. Sharing knowledge of the land, evening fell, painting the sky in deep oranges and purples, stars beginning to twinkle above. The child sat beside her mother, whispering stories of bravery and hope. Her mother held her close. Remember, we survived because we never gave up and trusted those who helped us. The human stood nearby, watching the sunset, feeling fulfillment and pride in what they had accomplished. The alien ally joined him, nodding. They will thrive here free from fear, and your actions will be remembered. The child looked up at the human, her voice soft. Will you visit us again? The human smiled. I will if you ever need me. And to see how you grow strong and happy. The mother hugged both of them, a moment of peace and gratitude binding their hearts. The night settled in the valley, calm and quiet, a new beginning awaiting. The child lay beside her mother, eyes heavy with sleep, dreaming of freedom, safety, and laughter. The human and the alien ally watched over them, ensuring the night passed without danger. In the quiet of the valley, hope and courage mingled, a promise of a brighter future. The child whispered in her sleep, We are safe. We are free. The mother smiled, whispering the same words back. The human finally sat, feeling that their journey, though dangerous, had brought justice, courage, and freedom. The alien ally gazed at the stars above, knowing that their new home would flourish, and stories of bravery would be told for generations. The valley became a symbol of survival, resilience, and the power of trust and unity. The audience felt the triumph, the relief, and the joy of freedom, leaving them with hope and wonder. And as the first night in their new home passed, the family, the human and the ally, knew that life would continue, filled with adventure, learning, and happiness.